In order to start two-point perspective project, we need to know the same vocabulary terms. So, what is two-point perspective? It is a way to make an object appear three-dimensional on a two-dimensional surface. So this means that if I have a piece of paper and I want to make something looking 3D, I can use two-point perspective to do that. Another word that I want you to know when you're working with perspective is the horizon line. The horizon line is the imaginary line that separates the sky from the ground. Vanishing points, and in this case, because we are working with two-point perspective, we will have two vanishing points, and these are the points where the horizontal lines, in our case, will disappear. It's most of the time where lines will disappear. You need to know the word vertical. This might be a word that you've learned in the past. Vertical lines are lines that are up and down on a page. And then horizontal lines are the lines that go back and forth. These 5 words are extremely important for two-point perspective. You need to know what two-point is, what a horizon line is, the vanishing points. Vertical lines, I use that word a lot, and horizontal line. Some other words that are helpful to know are the following. Now, if you know some of these words, you do not have to write them down. But if you feel that it would be helpful so that you know them later, please feel free to write these down. Foreground. Foreground are objects that are close to us in an image. So they appear larger, they have more detail, and typically they are down towards the bottom of the page. In the middle ground, we have objects that are medium size. There's some detail, but not a lot, and they're in between the foreground and the background, or in between the horizon line and the bottom of the page. The background, most often we're going to have objects up by the horizon line. They will be smaller and they will have less detail. When we are showing depth in an artwork, we might use overlapping. And this is when you take one object and place it so it appears that it's in front of another. And this shows depth in a drawing right away by just having some overlapping. Sorry. And then if we continue through, eye level. Now these are 3 words that I'll use, but again, if you think you can remember these, they don't need to go into your notes. Eye level is what people see. Eye level is if I look outside and I look at what is around me, this is eye level viewpoint. Now, the viewpoint from a person's perspective is called eye level, but if we have something where we're looking up at it, we call that worm's eye view, and it's like you're a little tiny worm and you're looking up at an object. Now, just the opposite, if I'm looking down on an object, that is called bird's eye view, and it's as if you are above the object itself. So if we turn to our Cornell notes, the first thing that we're going to see is that we need to decide what the topic today is. So turn to your Cornell notes and let's discuss, how does an artist create two-point perspective? How does an artist create two-point perspective? So we talked a little bit about this with our vocabulary terms, but in our key points, let's put down the term horizon line. And we decided that a horizon line is where the ground and the sky meet. So if I show a little picture here, this is my piece of paper, and I draw a line going horizontally from one side to the other, that is a perfect horizon line. This would be the sky up here, and this would be the ground. Go ahead and divide from the horizon line, draw a line underneath that. And another key point that we're going to write is vanishing point. I know that this is a word that we talked about, but again, let's just draw a little visual for ourselves. So the vanishing point, we have the horizon line, and there's going to be 2 points on the end of the horizon line here, and these are going to be the vanishing point, right here and right here. Let's talk about the steps that you will need in order to get to creating a 2-point perspective box. So we're going to start out by adding a horizon line. The horizon line will be in the center of the page horizontally. And on either side, you'll add 2 vanishing points. So here's one, and here's one. And then we're going to put vertical lines. One vertical line is going to be above the horizon line, one is going to be on the horizon line, and one below. And as you can see, these are not very good vertical lines because I'm not using a ruler, but they're good enough for these notes. So once we have the 3 vertical lines, we're going to bring each of them back to the vanishing points. So I'm going to go from the very top of each of these boxes, bringing them, and the very bottom, bringing them back to either side of the vanishing points. So it'll look something like this. And over here, like so, and like this. Now this is step 1 and step 2. Step 3, we're going to add the back to the box. So I'm going to go over here and add a vertical line on either side of that first line. This first line is going to be the corner, and then these are going to be the back. Here we'll go corner, and then the backs, and then the backs on this one. So now I have the 2 sides. Let's see, I'll show you. This would be a side, this is a side, and now I need to show the bottom of the box. So I'm going to pretend like I'm a little worm down here and I'm looking up at the bottom of the box. This is called worm's eye view. So now I'm going to do the same thing. My 2 lines are going to go back to the vanishing points, but instead of going to the same side, I'm going to go crisscross. So this is going to come over here, and this is going to come over here. To finish up the box, then I'll get rid of any lines. Maybe it will let me, maybe it won't. I'll just delete some of these lines. So like this line would disappear, this line would disappear, this one as well, all along here. And I should just have the box remaining. Now on this bottom line over here, I'm going to pretend like I'm a bird up in the sky looking down, and I would be able to see the top of this box right here. So again, I'll crisscross these. I'm going to go from this corner over here, this corner over here, and I'll be able to see the top of my box. Of course, I'll take my eraser and get rid of all these extra lines on the outside of the box. As for our center box, right here, I'm going to do this a little bit differently because this is people's eye view, which means it's on the horizon line. I can't see the top of the box or the bottom of the box, so the only thing that I'm going to do is get rid of the lines on this side, and then inside as well. let's take a look at what this image might end up looking like without all the mess. All right, let's review. If we're going to make our vanishing or our 2-point perspective, we start out with our horizon line, add our 2 vanishing points, a line above the horizon line, one on, one below, for example. We bring the lines back to the vanishing points from the top and the bottom of each line, each vertical line. We then add the back of the box, vertical, vertical, vertical. And then we crisscross, going from one over, from the backs over. I'm not going to do anything to that middle one because it's on the people line. I'll go ahead and get rid of any of the lines that I don't want. This line I'll get rid of. Inside here I'm going to get rid of the horizon line, but I think I'll leave it out here. There we go. Now I'm starting to see my 3 boxes nice and neat.